Hello and welcome to the Book and Bean podcast. My name is Majesta Dawn, author of Supernatural Supermom, which is being released on June 10th. And today we have a very special guest, Hailie. I don't know how to pronounce your last name. I'm gonna go.
It's Hailie Camarillo, but yeah, it's a kind of funny last name.
Hailie. And see, I was calling you Hailie too. Isn't that awful? I missed my I in there. It blurred like two L's. Hey, and I should know better with a name like Majesta. I get my name mispronounced all the time, Hailie. I'm so sorry.
Oh my gosh, no, it's totally no problem. Everyone always gets my name wrong at the first time, so don't worry.
Well, today we are going to be talking about your book, Fury and Flame, which I am so excited for. Well, first of all, everybody, we are recording this on Friday the 13th, which feels important to point out because your book is a witchy book, and I love it because my book is obviously my main character is a witch, and you are the first person I've had on here that's brought in a lot of the witchy elements. So I'm so excited.
Yes, I have always loved witches and I always wanted to do a witchy book. This one is a little bit different. They're just more elemental, but they definitely have some witchy qualities. And I'm yeah, it's fun.
It's so fun to play in those worlds. Like anything's possible, right? We make the rules when we write these
Yes.
types of worlds. So is Fury and Flame, is this your first book that you've ever published or just the first book in this series?
This is the first book I've ever published. Yes. So yeah, it's very exciting.
So exciting. That first book, this is my first book that I've published as well. I did a children's book many years ago just for my daughter, but it was never to like go wide or to actually publish. It was for her. We adopted her. There weren't a ton of books out there on adoption and like geared toward kids, so it was for her. But this is my first like book. And are you having the same experience of it's like really exciting but also really nerve-wracking?
Yes. Everyone asks me, how does it feel like? And I'm like, it's terrifying and it's exciting, but it's also really terrifying.
It is. It's like I'm so excited and I want to tell everybody about my book, but oh my gosh, like read it, don't read it. Read it, don't read
Yeah,
it. You're gonna see me, right?
exactly.
Yeah. So now your book is set to release sometime in September. We're still nailing down an actual release date, but I'm going to ask you to give everybody a overview of what Fury and the Flame's about.
Okay. So, um, Fury and Flame is basically a dual POV fantasy romance. It follows Ollie, who is our witch princess. She is the next in line for the Witch Kingdom, which is basically crumbling and going extinct because of the Fae who are trying to just eradicate them. And it also follows a male elven general. His name is Riker. And he is basically the complete opposite of Ollie. He is the calm to her storm. He is the ice to her fire. And it basically follows them looking into these slew of disappearances that are happening across the realm. Fae are going missing, elves are going missing, witches are going missing. And one of these beings that goes missing is Ollie's best friend. At the beginning of the book, her best friend is gone. Her aunt is convinced that witch hunters have, taken her and killed her. Ollie's not so certain. So Ollie decides to join this rebellion to basically take down the tyrannical Fae Queen. And her and Riker are, put together to figure out where these disappearances are happening and try and, get through this rebellion. And all the while, they're trying to ignore the feelings that they have for each other. Well, not so much Ollie. Ollie is very into Riker, but Riker has a very, very tragic past, and he's very guarded, and he is very hesitant to given to Ollie and her wily charms.
I
So,
I love it. Now I have to ask, I love the way you describe like he's the calm to her storm. Is that brought in from any of your real life relationship experience? Like are you the fiery one and your husband like the calm to your storm
oh
or
yes, yes, yes. Ollie is very much. She probably is one of the characters that is the most like me. She's definitely a lot more outspoken and a lot more brave than I am. But definitely there is a lot of Ollie in me, or me and Ollie, I
uh,
should say.
yeah.
So yeah, and my husband is very much Riker, very much the calm, cool, collected, the level head in every situation, whereas I'm overly emotional and constantly letting my, emotions ride me. So, yeah.
Yes, it's the same for like myself and my husband and my characters in my book. Maggie is very much like me. Brent is very much like my husband, like the calm. I joke that he's like a worry stone, like just by being there calms me down. You know what I
Love
mean?
that. I love that.
So that's so funny. Now, you were also a mom to two little, I love how I'm going to put your author bio and link into the description to this video and podcast, depending on if you're watching or listening. But I love that you describe your stay-at-home mom to two adorable little monsters, right? I love
They are definitely monsters. I love them dearly and I would die for them, but they are monsters.
it. They're monsters. So tell me, because I've got three of them myself,
Oh my
three little
goodness.
monsters for sure, and it can be hard to find the time to write. Like, how do you balance being able to actually write while
Oh
taking care
my
of the
gosh.
kiddos?
It is so hard. I usually, honestly, anytime that I can, like I have my Google Docs on my phone. I have my notes open on my phone all the time. And so anytime I have an idea or anything, I'm just like, okay, let me go write it in here. I do most of my writing once the kids go to sleep. Um,
Mhm.
and then usually I pay for it in the morning because I'm up for hours at night because I'm like, I just need to write. I need this time for myself. But it's it works out. Some days I get more writing done than others. Sometimes it's chaotic, but usually I get like about 20 minutes or so in like the pickup line when I go to pick up my son. So like I'm always like, okay, cool. It's 10 o'clock. Let's go pick up my son.
Yes, I get to write in the car. Oh my goodness.
Right?
My kids are homeschooled now, but I definitely would use that car time to
Yeah.
like write and jot things down. And it's everybody's always like, if you're tired, why don't you go to bed earlier? It's like, that's the only time the house is quiet.
Right. Exactly. I know.
Yes. Guilty for sure.
Us moms got to get it in whenever we can. So I get it.
Yes, we're just gonna find that time. Well, and I know your kiddos are younger right now, like 4 and 2, and they get older. And I know you're writing some romance, so it's not when they get older though. Do you plan to share your books with them?
I don't know. Honestly, I haven't even thought of that. And that kind of terrifies me. I mean, I don't know. I'm sure, like, honestly, I think a part of me will be surprised if they want to read it. Like, I think a part of me is going to assume that they're going to be like, ew, mom wrote that. Why would I want to read that? So,
So on a spice scale, how spicy would you say Fury and
uh,
Flame is?
I am horrible at the spice scale. But I would definitely say, I'd give it like a 2 or 3, and, okay, I'd say a 3. 3 is better. 3 sounds more accurate. There are some spicy scenes in it. There's about 3 of them, but they're a little bit closer to the end, so it's a slow burn, so it's definitely,
Nice.
that build up to it, but there are 3 very spicy scenes, so I would say about a 3.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So that makes it a little bit tougher too to imagine your kids wanting to read it, right?
Yeah, exactly.
it's it's so funny because my book does not it's kind of like maybe allude to spice but then fade to black, like the spice isn't
Okay.
it, I could the characters are so closely related to our family that I felt like giving people a peek inside our bedroom, so I'm like, I'm not gonna do it. And my oldest is about to turn 13 in a week. And she's
Okay.
like, okay, so you wrote a book. That's cool. I'm not gonna read it. It's not my
Major.
style. It's not the type of book I read. My son is like, is there Fortnite in it? I'm like, not really. He's like, don't want to read it. And my youngest, who is, I joke, she's my Halloween baby. She was born on October 13th. And she
Oh.
loves all things Halloween, witchy, like her treat. We go to Spirit Halloween when it opens probably 6 times because that's what she wants to do as a reward is go to Spirit Halloween.
Oh,
So
how
she's like,
cute.
so you wrote a book about a witch and I'm a witchy baby in it. I need you to read me the whole thing. And I'm
That
like,
is
honey, I'm like, I'm not, it's a novel. And she's like, I'm here for it. She sat down and in one evening, we spent the entire evening, she listened to the whole book. I did have to edit out some scenes that you know, like when you're reading the book and you're trying to get them faster to your kids, so you like flip extra pages.
yeah.
That's how we dealt with some scenes that weren't quite appropriate.
I love that. That is so cute though. And I love that she was like, I'm here for it, mom. Like, I'm totally fine.
She sat there the whole time. So your kids may surprise you as they get older. They may be like, "We really want to read what you wrote, mom."
Well, that is, I didn't have the exact experience, but my grandma loves reading my books. And I was like, Nana, this is a little bit of a spicy book for you. And she was like, it's okay. Those are my favorite types of books.
Yes.
So I was like, Nana, oh my gosh. Also, she's like 92. So it was funny. But so I did give her like an edited version. Like it's a PG-13 version of it. That kind of scaled it down a little because I was like, I don't want to give you a heart attack or anything, Nana.
Nana wants that spice. Crank it back up.
Right? It's like, oh my God.
That
But
is too fun. I love it. That's awesome that she's supportive though, and she wants to read your writing. And
yes.
is that your experience with most of your family and friends? Like, are they pretty supportive?
They are. Most of my family is super supportive of it. My dad is really funny though, because he thinks that he just takes anything in the romance genre as like it's just erotic. And I'm just like, oh my God, Dad. So he's like, oh, are you writing one of your sexy books again? And I'm like, yeah, Dad,
Yep.
I am. But they're all super super amazing. My husband's also a writer. He doesn't have anything published, but it's awesome because we get to exchange ideas, and he's been such a huge part of this whole process for me.
That's amazing. That's great that he's a writer too. So you have this. So I'm assuming he reads everything you do, and you probably read everything he does.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
that's so nice to have that support. Like, what's his? Because that can be a bit vulnerable too, right? Showing your partner, like this character is obviously very similar to you. Here's what I think. Like, here's what you are in my mind when you put it down on the page. Like, what was his reaction?
He liked it. I don't think that he really sees himself as Riker. Like I don't think that that's like in his mind eye. And Riker just has pieces of him. It's not like it's just exactly him, but Riker definitely has those pieces that like resonate with him.
Mm.
And it's good. He loved Riker. Riker was his favorite character from the very beginning because originally this story has had 5 major rewrites.
Wow.
Major rewrites. The first original version is nothing like this final version. And in the original version, Wrecker was just a side character. And from the very beginning, my husband was like, I love him and he needs to be in the spotlight more. And Riker just kind of evolved. And Ollie was also a side character. Ollie was not the main character, but they kind of just came up and they completely overtook the book and they overshadowed the 2 main characters. And so then I was like, okay, you know what? I need to rewrite it with them as the main characters, I guess. So I completely changed the story. Focused it more so on Ollie and Riker instead of the 2 main characters who are now supporting characters in the book, Wraith and Violet. They now are like on the back burner a little bit. But yeah, so Ollie and Riker are at the forefront.
That's a huge rewrite. Like when you say rewrite, that's like completely changing main character. That's amazing. Now,
Yeah.
I know that this is book one of the Witching Hour series. Do you think maybe those other two characters who are kind of shoved out of the spotlight, are they going to get their own book in the series, or are we going to continue to
So
follow Ollie and Riker?
they are definitely they play a huge role in book one. They just they only have a couple POV chapters. Book two, they will also be in. They'll be in the whole series, but there is hope for them to have their prequel story, which will be more in line with what the original manuscript was. And that will be how Wraith and Violet came to meet. So yeah, so I was working on the prequel, but I decided to put that aside for a little bit and focus on Ollie's book two, because I want to get that out.
Yes, absolutely. Well, that is so exciting. Now, I know you mentioned earlier that to me before we were recording, everyone, it's I got a little inside scoop that you are currently going to be searching for ARC readers soon.
Yes.
Wonderful. So what I'm going to do, everybody, I am going to make sure that in the description here, I put up your TikTok handle, because that's the best way to find you right now.
Yeah.
And if you are interested in potentially being an ARC reader for Fury and Flame, please, please, please go follow Hailie. And when you follow her, you will be able to click on her bio. If there's a link there for her link tree to sign up, or even just follow her and send her a message if you want to be an ARC reader. If you're interested for those updates, she'll make sure to post it on her TikTok. But Fury and Flame will be coming out in September, guys. Stay tuned and definitely follow Hailie on Instagram. You said that we're pretty sure your Instagram handle is the same as your TikTok handle, right?
Yes, it's actually it's author.h.r.camarillo. Lots of dots.
Perfect. And I will link that in the podcast description if you're listening, or in the YouTube description if you're watching. But thank you so much for coming on and chatting about what it's like to be a mom and an author and releasing your first time book.
No problem. Thank you so much for having me. It's been awesome.
Wonderful. Well, everybody, please make sure that you like and subscribe and hit the bell notifications, because that's how you're going to get alerts every time we interview amazing authors like Hailie. And keep reading, guys.